Welcome to this week's episode of Crazy Train with Jasmine St. Clair. I hope that everyone is enjoying everything so far. I can't believe it's been over a year. You guys have been religiously following me. And thank you very much for the new followers of this podcast. Make sure to subscribe to me on YouTube as well under Crazy Train Podcast. That's crazy with a K. And I'm still trying to get through the season, so I'm still taking my silver colloidal spray from Nature's Rings. I'm still not sick yet, thank God. So last week's interview was a lot of fun with Sophia Locke. She was an unusual guest because we shared a lot of the same views, especially when it comes to guys. But this week, I wanted to bring on a former beauty queen and someone from across the ocean who likes wrestling and who is a wrestler. Let's welcome Miss Nadia Sapphire. Because stupid mark questions are the worst because everyone's always asking the same thing over and over. It's like, okay, can I just hit reset or something, or just hit replay? It's like a broken fucking record. Thanks for joining us, by the way. I heard that you were a former beauty queen, which I could totally see. So you have to tell me about that because that's so cool to me. I love that.
Honestly, I look like shit today. I got off a flight in the middle of the night and my hair is just fucked from the sun. I haven't even washed it yet. So I look awful, so don't judge me on this. But yeah, when I was 17, I started doing beauty pageants. I'm 31 now. So I was runner-up Miss Swindon. Then I think the year after that I was in Miss Universe Great Britain. I was a finalist there. So I did a beauty pageants for about 3 years and then stopped. It was just something fun at the time. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's so much fun. I wanted to be a page 3 girl all my life. I still I might be too old to be a page 3 girl now, but I seriously, that's the only thing left is a page 3 girl. Were you ever on page 3? Because I think that's a big deal.
Oh my God. I was literally, funnily enough, I was actually looking at it the other day and I messaged a guy who I know works for one of the papers and I was like, how do I get on page 3? I would love to do it. But he doesn't work in that department. So, but yeah, I'd love to do it. How old have you got to be? Because I'm 31. You're a similar age to me, right?
You're so sweet. Oh my God. I never really partied at all.
Yeah.
It's all about skin rejuvenation. So I've been doing those PRP facials with the blood since I was 28 or 29. I've been doing them for years, long before whatever that girl's name is made them popular.
What, the Kardashians?
I say she looks like an inside of a used condom. That's what I call her. And that's just being really nice. So yeah, so I've been doing them for ages, and no, I'm way past 46.
No, you are. How old are you? You've got to tell us now.
You're so cute. I love you. Oh, I'm 50.
Fuck off.
No, I am.
No.
I don't have kids and I'm not married, which probably has everything to do with it.
You are not 50. Oh yeah. My God.
No, I use skin. I use serum, human growth factor serum, because we're humans, not plants. I just I go to the gym, I drink my water, I just do my shit. I think it's also my mom. My mom looks like my mom gets 40 and 50-year-old guys hitting on her, and I usually have to beat them off, get the fuck away from her. Do not talk to my mom. I will kill you. Well, my cousin got married in London and the DJ was hitting on her, and I took my champagne and I just threw it at him. I was drunk at that point. But I don't think they kicked me out of my cousin's wedding for that. I don't think I did anything wrong.
Oh my God, honestly, you know what? You've literally just blown my mind. You have literally just inspired me, because every year I'm oh my God, I'm a year older. And oh my God, if I could look as good as you when I'm 50, I could still be smashing the OnlyFans, still be doing everything and still making a ton of money. Everyone says to me oh, isn't it time to have kids yet? And I'm I don't want to have kids yet. I don't want to retire. I don't want to I love traveling. People are you're going to be lonely when you're older. And I'm thinking, will I though? Because you can have friends. You don't need children.
No, and plus I have a stuffed toy cat, and I have aspirations of being on page 3. Then I have a real cat, and I travel alone, so I have motorcycles as well. So I go riding. whoever tells you shit like about getting older, they're like so full of it. Plus you're wrestling, like wrestling, we're all sick in the head. You know that, like we're all sick in the
Not
head.
normal.
No, to us we're normal, right? But like we're sick in the head in a way because we're going back. I'm back doing stuff. You're doing stuff. You're going to keep doing stuff, you know.
That's like,
But that's like
who,
huh?
no,
What?
who puts their body in pain on purpose?
We do.
Exactly. Like literally.
No, but I appreciate the compliment. Hopefully, like all the skincare I'm using, um, hopefully I'm able to collaborate with someone in the UK because I'm trying to come out with like my own skincare line. I can't stand when celebrities do that shit, you know, all these celebrity endorsements. Like Naomi Watts came out with like hormone stuff. I'm like, who the fuck are you? I said, it's not one size fits all, bitch. Like seriously, I could probably use a shit ton more testosterone, but if I do that, maybe I'll go crazy. I don't know.
Oh my god, you have to send me your routine later. Like literally after this, you have to like send me what you're using and everything.
What's your ethnic background? Because you have the perfect hair.
So I'm half Arab. So my dad is full Libyan, my mum's full Welsh. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. My
Like
hair's
perfect.
wild. Like honestly, it just goes crazy. It is so wild. Like yeah, it needs a brush.
I love it. I don't wash my hair for like 4 or 5 days, so don't worry. You're in good. I gotta wash my hair like sometime this week. I don't know when I'll do it though. Um, I just don't. But so with the pageants, I've got to ask you. So it's so different in the States doing pageants, and what's it like in Europe doing pageants? Is it the same thing like with the stage moms and everything?
No. Like
Really?
literally, I feel like if I watch like a USA film or like anything to do with pageants, it's like way more cheesy. Like in UK, it's just like way more chilled. I think as well, pageants in the UK are like a massive way for the pageants to make money. Like that's like what I sort of realized when I was doing it. Like in order to be in the pageant, like you'd have to get like a business to sponsor you, and like a business would have to pay the pageant, so it could be on its logo and all that type of stuff, and you buy like your own dress and everything, and like you're doing it because like you do get good exposure. Like I got like in like, you know, a few like magazines and stuff and did a few background modeling and stuff like that, so like, you do get good exposure from it. But I think ultimately like you're trying to win because you want that modeling contract, don't you? Yeah, but yeah, I don't feel like it's like that. Like I don't know a lot about American pageants, but it's definitely not cheesy. You don't have like your mum there like, woo, like literally do this, do that. You don't have any of that. It's just quite chilled, and all the girls are just chilled and lovely. It's just, yeah, just chilled.
And these are actual girls that are competing. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, yeah, like
Thank
girls
God.
who are in the
Okay.
pageants, like everyone's just lush, like lovely to each other.
Wow, it's like so bitchy here. And you
No.
always get like these guys, like you always have like the fat freaking slob at home in his mom's basement, like watching the girls. Her nose is too big. Oh, her ass is too
Oh,
small. I know. It's like, dude, you're 800 pounds in your mother's basement jacking off. You haven't even
and still
like
a virgin.
the 40-year-old
Literally.
virgin. Exactly.
Literally. Probably like a 60, 70-year-old virgin.
You know, but they exist. And it's kind of like this in wrestling, for example. What even made you decide to get into wrestling of all, like that's a huge switch.
So I started watching it when I was like 8 or 9, and I fell in love with it. So at 14, I found a training school. At 16, I made my debut, and that was it. I got like injured when I was 18, like a trauma ACL, lateral meniscus, medial meniscus. So I did take 4 years out in between. And then I came back at about 22 years old. So about 9 years ago, I came back. But I love it. Like I can't imagine my life without it, and I don't even know why I love it. Like I just love it. Like I enjoy doing it. When I'm wrestling, I just get this feel good feeling. I'm buzzing. It's just such a nice feeling.
It is, isn't it? And I didn't know you were that young. So you're younger than Teddy. Well, I was watching the Teddy Hart documentary. I've had like a couple of encounters with him. He actually made an
Yeah.
outfit for me once. It's pretty cool.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I forgot. I'm like, wait a second, that voice, that ego. Oh shit. Yeah, he called me to work for me years ago. Duh. Uh, where do you train in England? And I love wrestling shows in England, by the way, but where was your school? And were the mats super stiff?
So I trained in Wales first. That's where I live. So Wales is next to England. It's classed as a different country. So I started training there. My first ever training session was, we didn't even have a ring. It was on mats. And I remember like when I finally I think like after a few training sessions, they set up a ring, and I was like, oh my God, a ring. And we did like a rumble, and I was just there doing bulldogs left, right, and center. Like I hadn't even been taught it. I was just doing it because I seen Trish do it. And yeah, so I was there for about a year and a half, like training in a few different places in Wales. And then I found a really good training school in a place called Swindon, which was in England, about an hour and a half, 2 hours from London. And I started training there full time. And when I was 16, I left home and moved to Swindon and trained full time to be a wrestler. Like we'd have training sessions like 4 or 5 times a week. It was fun. I lived in a shared house, and yeah, I grew up very quick.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were a little bit older when you did it, but I'm looking at some of the photos. I'm like, wait a second, was this girl like underage or something? Because it's kind of
Yeah,
perverse. But I mean,
yeah,
you got to be careful. I mean, there are a lot of girls that
100%.
have bad experiences in the States with that. Because then again,
Oh,
America has a lot of nasty, piggish men, not guys who listen to this, obviously, but there are a lot of pigs in the business.
yeah.
Yeah.
I found that out from a young age. Like when I was 14 and I first started training, we had this forum, and literally had about like 15 different men add me on this forum, messaging me. And then I had men who were in their 20s who I'd got with when I was 15. And at the time, when you're insecure and you're a little bit overweight, you feel like, oh, these people, like they really like you, and they make you feel special, make you feel beautiful, especially like when boys in school are not giving you attention and they're giving other girls attention. And only when you're older you realize, oh shit, that's grooming, that's wrong. Like, speaking of models, I had one guy who's a referee, and when I was 15 years old, he basically said to me, because I used to look up to Trish and Lita and all the magazines, like the Raw magazines and stuff, and used to want to do what they wanted to do. And he'd always say, oh yeah, I know people who work for FHM and Nuts magazines, they're like lads mags. And he's like, if you let me take some pictures of you, I can send them to the people. Obviously I didn't know you had to be 18 or anything, so when I was 15 he had me in a hotel taking pictures of me to send to these magazines, which never happened. And there's me thinking, I'm going to be rich and WWE are going to see me and all this type of stuff, yeah. Oh God, men men in wrestling, there's a lot of amazing men in wrestling, but about 10% of them are fucking pigs. Disgusting, isn't they? And
Yeah.
I always say this, even when I came back after injury at 22, I always used to say to my friends, oh, they don't want me now. I said, I'm too old. And I'd make a joke out of it before the speaking out movement even happened. I'd be like, oh, I'm too old. I used to be like, they want the young girls because they can manipulate the young girls. The young girls are naive. They can make the young girls do what they want. When you're in your 20s and you're getting older, you've got a mind of your own. You say no, you're a bit more stricter. But yeah, I always used to say that. It's crazy. They do. It's awful. It's disgusting, but they do.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I tell when guys hit on me that are like 29 or 30, I say, you're too fucking old, ill. So if it makes you feel any better, I always tell people that. I don't know, because I've seen older wrestlers. I feel as though now working where I am, I would think they use older girls for things. Like in Penthouse magazine, whenever they had promotions, they'd always send the older Penthouse pets out to do signings,
Yeah.
because we're more responsible, or you want to think we are. So I would think they'd want more responsible girls like in their 20s or early 30s or something. But you could really do this at any age, to be quite frank with you. Some of the guys that work with me, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but we just, we don't really know any different. Now, have you wrestled a dark match for WWE? Have you contacted them in any way, shape, or form?
No, so I had tryouts to WWE back when it was 2016. So we had tryouts before Raw and before SmackDown. This was before WWE UK happened. So I had tryouts then. It was actually a really good experience. I stayed in touch with Regal for the year after, and then nothing ever happened then, and that was it. And then as I got older, I sort of accepted I wouldn't go to WWE. I found OnlyFans 3 years ago, and I love my OnlyFans. I ain't willing to get rid of that, So yeah, life's changed.
But you can't always think, well, I had Viva Van on the show once before, and she's in PCW Ultra.
Yes, I've seen her last
she's
show.
very pretty, and she's really talented and skilled as well. So it could be any age, but she said something sort of important. She's just going with it and enjoying the journey, and whatever it is that's supposed to come your way, trust me, it'll come to you. And this is coming from someone who just I just go I'll get up, and it's a crazy train that wakes up and just goes, and I don't know where it's going to end up. It just ends up somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So, just enjoy life.
Exactly. And plus, maybe maybe there'll be something else that's different than WWE in a way. Exactly. And Steve Regal's a sweetheart. Did you watch him growing? Who did you watch growing up in wrestling? Favorites besides
Trish, Lita, the Hardy Boys, Kurt Angle, The Rock, Stone Cold, Chris Jericho. It was 2001 when I started watching it. So it was like the Alliance versus the WWF. So that's a storyline that made me fall in love with wrestling.
What do you think of women's deathmatch wrestling?
I've not seen any women's deathmatch wrestling.
Are you serious?
No, I think a few girls have started doing matches over here, where they put what are them toys, the Lego where they land on Lego and stuff, and one or two of the girls have started doing a few matches like that, but nothing crazy where they're cutting themselves and stuff. I did work for a promotion in San Diego when I was here last, and I think that was a deathmatch place, well, not a deathmatch place, but you know what I mean, a bit that type of thing. And then I remember coming across XPW's Twitter.
That's where I work. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you do death matches?
I don't do death matches. I could wrestle though, but because of my size, I'm a manager, and also because just of acting and everything else, it's kind of, I don't think I'd heal pretty well from that, but I'm around the ring for enough of the blood. I've had shards of light tube in my arm and in my hair. I got one in my eye.
Oh, God.
I'm around it all the time. Those girls are insane. I mean, they're a special kind of character. And I like being a manager. I don't mind taking big bumps. I don't mind beating someone up with a kendo stick or anything like that, or using weapons. But the girls are doing it, and it's really, I mean, they're putting it all out there on the line. It's different. What did you think when you saw that in XPW? What were your thoughts on
you know what, when I seen it, I was like, oh my God, I was like, I've never done anything like that before. I was like, could I even do it? What if I'm that type of person now, because I've had so many injuries, I think things through now. So I'm right, if I do this, am I gonna re-injure myself? Am I gonna do this? Am I gonna do that? But then I guess with a lot of deathmatch wrestlers, they sort of know how to do it, so they're not getting injured. So I guess it's learning a totally different thing, isn't it?
It is.
I'd be open.
Yes.
I'd be open to doing certain matches. Then I probably wouldn't be as daring as a lot of the other girls. I'm that type of girl that I love doing custom wrestling and stuff like that. And in our custom wrestling, we do bra and panty matches and stuff like that. I'm more of that girl who loves the attitude era style things. So I'm if an over 18 show ever wants to book me for that type of thing, I'll be all over that, just doing stink faces and that type of comedy style matches, and just having a laugh, and maybe taking one or two horrible moves. But but I don't like other people's bloods. I really don't like bloods. I'm really squeamish with bloods.
Yeah, I am too. It's freaky sometimes.
I couldn't have someone else's blood on me. I'd literally I'd die. I'd be no, get it off me. I'd literally panic and run away out of the ring, get this off me.
It happened when we had our show in New Jersey. I don't know, there were 3 people's blood in the ring, and then when he grabbed my face, one of the wrestlers, I didn't know whose blood was on me. I'm okay, just go wash my face. Dum-de-dum. But not all the matches are death matches. Not all of them are, and we don't have a lot of managers because we just like,
Yeah.
we just restarted the company last year, like a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's different in that respect, but we're doing a lot more different things. But, we don't have a lot of girls working there as managers. So you never know. And I like it because it's just,
Ballet.
yeah, no, I like being a manager because we have the old school aspect of it. Plus, he put us
Yeah.
in this really controversial storyline with the mega MAGA faction. So
Yeah.
I'm coming out to the ring, and this woman has her like her hands over her kid's eyes when she sees the flags and stuff, and my Trump 2024 bikini top. She's like in disgust. It was so funny, but then there's so many people that like it, and I think it's fun. I because you don't know where someone stands with anything. You don't like, is it really a storyline or are they really mega MAGA? Like, you just don't know these things, but they're fun. And that's important. Now, getting back to your injury, you had a torn ACL and meniscus. What's been repaired? Did you get your meniscus sewn? Did they remove it?
So for my ACL, they took my hamstring tendon and they fixed it with that. For my medial and lateral menisci, I'm not quite sure. I think they just went in and scraped away what they needed to do. I'm not sure. I just know I got like a big scar on my knee, like from the ACL's keyhole. I think from the thing then, from like the meniscus tears, like just a long ass scar on my knee.
You see, I had a meniscus issue too, but it wasn't for, I don't know, it was from tennis probably. Then I was in an improv class, and it's like something just hurt because you're just like running around in physical comedy, but it was worn down from tennis and everything else these years. So they did the surgery, but then I have problems again now. So I don't think he really, well, yeah, maybe because of the pandemic, because I don't think I was really, I was exercising, but not warmed up as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure your OnlyFans made shit tons of money during the pandemic.
Oh my God. It was the best time. And I wasn't spending any of it either. I was literally sitting, I was on OnlyFans for like 12 hours a day during the pandemic, just messaging people back and forth, doing lots of photo sets, selling photo sets. It was literally like a full-time job. Like, I built that right up during the pandemic. It was so good. Now I've got like half the amount of subscribers, but it was amazing. Like, it was like a good year or so of just making money and saving it and not spending it.
Yeah, that's a really good deal. So I don't want to know the exact content. You don't have to tell me. What's like, tell us what's on, like, is your OnlyFans spicy? What kind of stuff is on there?
Yeah, so basically, as like, cause I've had it for 3 years, you get a bit more confident doing more things, like you start off like being just like, more fully covered, then like you like start off doing more things. So now I do a lot of implied nudes, and I do it because I love my body and I love my curves, and the older I've got, the more I just think you fall in love with yourself as you get older. Like, you learn a lot more about yourself, and and it's things like when I'm walking and stuff now, I'm like, oh, I'm thankful I can walk, I'm thankful I can do all these things, which makes me love my body more. So I do a lot of implied nudes, like a lot of naked bum, a lot of like hands over breasts and stuff like that. Then I do like lots of strip tease style content. I do a lot of custom wrestling content on there, lots of stink faces. I'm very fetish friendly as well, so I do a lot of custom content. So I've had people who want sploshing stuff or feet stuff or like POVs and stuff like that, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll do it. I even get like just loads. Like, I had someone like I made a birthday cake for someone in big granny panties, and I had to put all the ingredients in there and make a birthday cake.
Did you send it to someone?
Yeah, they paid me like 500 quid to do that for them. It's like a 10-minute video. Just like literally, it was like these massive granny panties in the back, and I was literally there like putting flour down there and eggs and stuff, and then literally at the end, then I took them off, and then I just hosed myself down in the garden, hosed the garden down, and it was all done.
Wait, you hosed yourself down in the garden? Did your neighbors see this?
I don't care. I don't think they do.
I love it. That's
like
excellent.
I've got fences, so they must think, what the fuck's wrong with this person?
I hope you're enjoying the ride on Crazy Train with Jasmine St. Clair podcast. So if you are, do me a huge, huge favor. Please go ahead. Go on to Apple Podcast or Spotify or whatever, but Apple's great. give me a nice rating and review, send me a screenshot, and I promise you, I will send you a special goodie bag. So please rate and review Crazy Train with Jasmine St. Clair podcast. And in exchange for that, once I see the DM with the review and your name and address, I will get those gift bags out to you. I'm not going to tell you what's in it.